I'm gonna get my sack back. I'm gonna get my sack back, dude.
You probably would hurt me.
Hey. Hey, where's the freaking gabagoo? You motherfucker. You motherfucker, huh? Don't make me get the...
Bring your friends, it's fun to lose and play pretend. It's overboard and self-assured. No, I know the dirty word.
Yes, people, welcome back into the channel. Hope you are too blessed to be stressed. Thank you again for joining myself today. Live a little earlier than I have been usually. And that's for a multitude of reasons. But look, I'm just too damn excited to talk about Tottenham. I'm too damn excited to see Xavi Simons play for my beautiful club. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm finding it kind of strange, the vibe around the window. Seems like people are more stuck on what we didn't get rather than enjoying what we did get. And for me, off of the top, I just want to say I think this is a fantastic window. To have 4 signings that come in and impact the starting 11 immediately, I think that's I ain't seen that in a while, let alone some of these players that we did bring in, you know. I'm going to say this as well. 2 out of 2 of the signings were dream signings for me. And then also, I'm going to say that, at least for me anyway, I really think that Paulinho, that bit of business is going to go under the radar. One, because it's a loan deal, and for some reason with loan deals, people like to say it's a half deal. It's not like a full deal. I don't really buy that. I think it's kind of a no pressure, no real risk type of signing, because if he does get back to that Fulham form, well, hey, then you've got a good player there for just about, what, 30 million euros? If we do, it's a 20-something million euros, something absorbently cheap, which if you would have told me 48 months ago, well, not 48, what, 24 months ago, 2 years ago, that João Paulinho would go for a fee similar to that, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But here we are. And then, of course, you get Kolo Muani on deadline day. Haven't actually discussed that too much because I haven't been live. But I do apologize about that. So make sure you are liking and subscribing on the channel. Like the video or don't, whatever is your choice. And I'm also going to say this about the transfer window. Like, we have brought in players that not only strengthen the 11, but also provide, I'm going to say, some ample competition for players at other positions. I mean, when you simply look at how Richarlison's been playing, I think that shows that he wants to get his job back from Dominic. We announced Kolo Muani, then all of a sudden Dominic's posting selfies in the gym. So, you know, I think that these kinds of signings are going to be those ones that help the team to actually improve. And it does obviously remain to be seen. I think that our schedule coming back, the first 4 games from international break, Premier League specifically, not talking about the Champions League, because we do come back, we play West Ham and then Villarreal in the Champions League, which they are a criminal club, and now they employ a bunch of criminals. But outside of that, you know, you're looking at these 4 Premier League matches, and you got to think that's 12 points up for grabs right there, like legitimately. So, you know, there's no excuse, in my opinion, to not get all 12 points in the next 4 Premier League matches. But look, another topic of conversation in regards to the transfer window, has Frank been back? Have we backed Tommy Boy the Engine, or Tommy the Tank Engine, Tommy the Toolman Taylor, whatever you want to call him? And I'm going to say yes. Yes, we have. Thomas Frank has been backed, unlike any manager that I've seen, really, since Pochettino. When you look at the signing of Xavi Simons alone, even if it was just Mohamed Kudus, those 2 players for me were the dream signings that I mentioned a little bit earlier on. But those 2 players for me, even if you take one away, it still hasn't really been as good of a signing to get one of those players really since Rafael van der Vaart. And that is before I even chose Tottenham as my club. Well, in 2008, I believe it was. So, I think that a little grain of salt is needed. And then, I say a grain of salt, but Tottenham Hotspur fans, there's a whole bunch of salt. It's a big ass brick of it. And I just don't understand. It's every window we're not happy. And this is probably the best window that I've ever seen. Point blank period. Like, I've heard people say we've got a center back problem. I don't think that we do. Obviously, Luka Vuskovic getting loaned out wasn't what I wanted to see happen for the young lad, but he came out and said that the club didn't even want that for him. I've got the quote right here that I could show you where he says, oh, that's the wrong window. Hang on one second. No, Staffy deleted for this. Really? Hang on. Staffy about to get pissed. But let me adjust this because this does not look right. Let me fix this real quick. Boom. And then I'll put myself right there. Make the camera a little bit bigger. How about there? Boom. There we go. Sorry. Updating the layout. But Luka Vuskovic himself even said that they offered him an option to stay to play in case of injury or the cup matches, but he wanted continuous minutes. He says, quote, they have Romero and Van de Ven playing. They're two of the best center backs in the world at the moment. I believe in myself, but it's really difficult to play next to them. I've faced them, and I've realized I still have to work harder. A lot of work and a little bit of luck, so I'll be back. So he did have some quotes to say that was, Tottenham wanted me to stay. I wanted consistent minutes. I didn't think that I was going to crack this first team. I didn't really think he would either. I would say at best probably that fourth option behind Kevin Danso, because Danso's also come in and shown a lot of qualities, especially with that Thomas Frank patented long throw thing that we're doing, which, Bergvall tried his hardest, but he can't throw it as far as Kevin Danso can, in my humble opinion. But look, I am, again, so thrilled with this window. I am so ecstatic about what can be. Now, again, that is what can be. We do have to see how Xavi Simons obviously is going to translate from the Bundesliga to the Premier League. When you look at some of the best players who came from the Bundesliga, most recently Florian Wirtz, there is that little bit of an acclimation period, in my opinion, when you're making that jump. And I think it's evident when you look at the way Florian Wirtz is able to operate. Oh, shit. The way that Florian Wirtz was able to operate over there for Bayer Leverkusen versus how he's done in his tenure so far with Liverpool. I think that, there's going to need to be a little bit of patience with Xavi Simons, but obviously giving him the number 7 shirt is a vote of confidence. Obviously putting him as the face of this new project is a huge vote of confidence. So for me, I think that he's got the whole world at his feet. Now, what he does with it remains to be seen. However, I do still think that he is the most exciting signing that we've had really since Rafael van der Vaart. And I would even say Kudus as well is probably the most exciting. And that's all for me personally. That's just my opinions. And please do, if you're here live in the live chat, let me know. And I'm probably going to clip this first little segment up and make it its own video. So if you are watching this as a playback video, please do comment down below. What is your rating out of 10? For this window? I've obviously, for the live stream today, we're going to be doing some rankings. If we can get to the Premier League predictions, we'll do that. If not, we're just going to go ahead and rank our squad, and this is including the new signings. So I found a couple tiers that we will mess with. I've got a couple bookmarks we will go through. So make sure if you are on the video, go on over to the live stream if you want to see more of it. But I just wanted to give my brief Tottenham transfer thoughts, basically. And again, Xavi Simons is a player I've wanted for 3 or more years. Mohamed Kudus, 3 or 4 years. And we've got both of them in one window. Kolo Muani, who comes in as our best striker, in my opinion. And then you've also got João Palhinha, which I think is an often overlooked little signing that we made. And I'll be honest, y'all may not believe me, but there was I'm trying to find the bookmark I had, but there was a bookmark where they were basically ranking. Here it is. So The Athletic ranked Tottenham Hotspur's João Palhinha as the best transfer in the Premier League summer window. Number 1, they gave. Well, here I'll change the view again so y'all can see that. They said number 1 was João Palhinha. Number 13 was Xavi Simons. Number 52 is Mohamed Kudus, and I think that is. They're going to be regretting that 52 ranking whenever they see what Kudus does this year, in my humble opinion. They've said the 78th best signing was Kevin Danso. 121st Matthias Tell, and 141st Koto Takai, which, you know, when you start getting down to 141 and you're talking about Koto Takai, I got to imagine the names around there are also names similar that I've never really heard of. So, or at least watched play for that matter. But look, João Palhinha, I say it's been overlooked. The Athletic says number one out of everybody, and that's every Premier League signing. Now, obviously, I can't click this because it is one of those pay to read type of articles. However, at least I'm not alone in how important I think that this João Palhinha signing is. And there was also something that Thomas Frank said after the match versus Bournemouth, in which we lost 1-0. He said that João Palhinha is not even at 100% fitness yet, and he's still offering us so much. So to me, I think that his best is still yet to come, even though he was immaculate versus City, obviously getting that goal, getting stuck in a whole bunch. But for me, João Palhinha is a fantastic signing, even if it wasn't one of my two dream signings. 2 years ago, when he was at Fulham, I definitely did want us to sign João Palhinha. Obviously, when he went to Bayern, I understood it. But now he's back here, and if he can return to that form, I mean, ooh-wee is all I can say about that. But again, these first three names, obviously, Simons, y'all should know by now how I feel about that, and Mohamed Kudus as well. And the last thing I do want to say about them is the notion that, you know, if Thomas Frank is usually getting a player that, say, is at a 3 out of 10 to a 4 or 5 at best out of 10, and he raises them to be desired by the biggest clubs in the country and some across the world, in Ivan Toney and Buemo and Visa, that's a clear indication he can take a 3 or a 4 and turn him into a 6, 7, or 8. And my thought is, if you get a guy like João Palhinha, who's probably about a 7 or an 8, what can he do with that? Can he elevate it further to a 9 or a 10? Can he take a Mohamed Kudus, who I would probably say is about an 8, and make him a 9 or a 10? And then you guys, Avi Simons as well, who, you know, I'm going to say at this juncture, I'm going to give him a 7, just because of, you know, the lack of Premier League experiences. But if you can take that 7 and make it a 10, bro, we will be cooking. And that is the main reason why I actually have like so much faith in us going forward, is not just these players that are 4, 5s, and 6s becoming a higher number, but it's these guys that we're bringing in of a higher quality. How much can he improve them? So I'm really excited to see that. Let me know in the comments, whether you're watching this live or on playback, what your thoughts are. But I am very, very happy. I am ecstatic. I'll give you my number rating a little later on. So, but I just don't understand why Spurs fans are not happy. They're referring to Eze and Gibbs White and these players that we missed out on, but you're not going to mention Leroy Sané. He also said no to us. There's names that like to get mentioned, I think, because it's just like the thing that they wanted that they didn't get. So now it's like, oh, Levy should have spent more. Oh, we don't have depth at the center back. I think that we do. And I'm still curious to see what Dragusin's going to look like under Thomas Frank as well, because everyone said that Dragusin was not played to his strengths in the Ange Postecoglou system, which is, you know, a high press, high line defending, and he's this or that. And for me, I'll be honest, like with Dragusin, I haven't seen anything yet in a Tottenham shirt that says, yeah, this guy is that 3rd or 4th option there. That's why I kind of left it open for Luka Vuskovic. However, if if Frank is the manager that everyone alludes him to be, then I would imagine that that Dragusin will obviously show that improvement as well. So I'm not too concerned about the center back position. Fullbacks, obviously, we've got Pedro Porro, Destiny's just come back, and Jed Spence. So that's 3 different fullbacks, and Jed could obviously play both sides like he did versus Bournemouth, which, again, I'm just going to say this about Jed Spence. Everyone doing that whole mockery bullshit because he said, bring me your best winger, or bring me your favorite winger, something like that, and then we're going to add him to the Jed Spence Penitentiary, which, if you're unfamiliar, is starting to pile up. We're starting to get crowded. We might have to start releasing some of these folks. But as you know, the penitentiary of Jed continues to grow, and you do like to see that. However, people's trying to use Semenyo's 70 minutes versus Pedro Porro as an indication that Jed Spence got cooked. That's just not factual, and that's basically watching a game on SofaScore. Now, I like to reference SofaScore for like statistical information, but to use their player ratings in any kind of argument for me is blasphemous at best, and it is a joke at worst. Or at best. I don't know. Either way, I think you understand what I'm saying, that Jed Spence did not get cooked by Semenyo because Semenyo didn't do shit as soon as Jed Spence went over to the right. But hey, that's neither here nor there. But let me say hello to the chat before we keep on going. I see we got a super chat from a user 4872 with the £2 dono. Says left wing was key position. Do you think Colo will cover it? I think we've got so many players that can play there that's why I'm also not concerned about it, because I think, you know, and I'm not trying to assume your feelings here or thoughts, a user. Admittedly, I don't really know where you stand with the window. So I would say Kolo Muani has played on the right. He's played on the left, but primarily in his best position is in the central forward position. So I would say I'd be more inclined to believe if Frank was to deploy a left winger that we have, that is not, you know, a guy that we wanted to sign, but a player that already plays for Tottenham. I'm looking at, you know, he could put Xavi Simons out there. I'd rather see Xavi at the 10, personally. That's where I think he cooks the best breakfast. But I could see Richarlison playing on the left. I could see Matthias Tell playing on the left. And let's not forget, we also got the French Pele, Wilson Odobert. Odobert, a.k.a. Oda Squirt. And there is something to be said. Like, we have these young players that everyone says they're not good enough, but they do need game time in order to be better. And I think that Tell and Odobert, the best of them is yet to be seen. I don't think that they've made the best accounts for themselves thus far. Some of it by hook, some of it by crook. However, I do think that, for me at least, I see potential in Tell. I know everyone's really upset with Tell and everyone really hates Matthias Tell right now, but I just don't see it. I actually have a good amount of confidence in the fact that I think he is a dynamic athlete. Now, obviously, decision-making and final third execution has been kind of the crux so far, and that was obviously the thing in the summer that we were all saying that I'm a little concerned about with Matthias Tell, was the decision-making in the final third. But, you know, even versus Bournemouth, I heard people saying they struggled to find a positive there. I thought when he came on, he picked up the ball and he switched it very nice a couple of times that I can remember. Obviously, it's in a loss, so it's neither here nor there. But I do think that obviously he's not been good enough to even warrant that off the bench position. But I don't think Colo will cover it. I think he will allow Richarlison that ability to be on the left, because remember, that's where he started in the Europa final. Obviously, everyone knows that's where he played primarily for Everton when he was quote unquote at his best. I'm going to say the best I've ever seen Richarlison was versus Burnley week 1 this year. That bicycle kick was some fun, wasn't it? But yeah, I think Colo could cover it, but that's what I think is also so awesome about this transfer window, user, is the fact that we've signed players like a Xavi, like a Kudus, Kudus could play the 10. Kudus could play the central forward position. He can play on the left or the right. Really, all 4 of those positions Kudus can thrive in. Now, is it square peg in a round hole? I don't know for sure. However, what I do know is the versatility of these players and their ability to thrive in different positions, for me, is absolutely an amazing quality to have. So when you have Xavi Simons, who could play on the left or in the 10, you know, that's nothing but good news in my opinion. And then you've got a guy like Richarlison who could play through the middle or down the left. And you got Brennan Johnson as wide. I didn't even mention Brennan Johnson, the guy who scores a whole bunch of goals, and that's really all that he does. But he also makes those runs that I think, you know, you would have seen maybe Wilson Odobert score if he had Brennan Johnson's front of net prowess, if we can call it that. Because while there are a lot of deficiencies to Brennan Johnson's game, he does know how to score a goal. He does know where to be when the game is building up. Now, you give him the ball and say, go to work, son, and you're going to see a fail comp in recent memory, most every time. However, you know, when you want a forward to score goals and then that fact is used as a stick to beat Brennan Johnson with, I find it weird, because you want your forwards to get goals. That's end of the line, really. Like, bottom line, score fucking goals. And he does. So he does the minimum. He does the minimum. But anyway, big up user for that super chat. Appreciate you spending a couple bucks over here on the channel, supporting us that way. It does mean a lot. Also, shout out to YouTube chat members. Let's get this show rolling. Man like Yaku, big up hyper protagonist. Rinkitek is in the house. Hi, Jacob. How's life? Man, I am so blessed. I am a little stressed because of moving and shit, I forgot. I didn't pay rent. It's the first of the month and I didn't pay rent. Big up Billy T, Ziggy Wiggy. What's up, man? It says, hey, big up Jacob, road to 10K around the corner. Well, road to 7K is officially alive and on. I would say the road to 10K feels like the road to Tottenham winning the UCL. Is it possible? Yes. Does it look likely? Not at this juncture. However, anything is possible. Like and subscribe. Big up Ziggy Wiggy for reminding everyone to hit a like and subscribe on the video. There's also a poll in the chat if you are here live. I see 19 votes on there. It says, how do you rank Tottenham's transfer in total? 47% right now says good window overall, not perfect. 32% says immaculate window, I love it. And if I had to vote, I probably would vote with immaculate window, I love it. Because again, kudos, Xavi. If 12 months ago, I would have thought we were about to play motherfucking FIFA on my manager career save mode, because those are two players every year I sign there that I'm just a big fan of. So personally and biasedly, I am immaculate with this. I feel immaculate about this window. 19% says I'm let down overall. Well, I'm a couple more votes coming in here, so the numbers are changing a little bit, but I'm curious, if you did vote I'm let down overall, what was the letdown for you? Why do you feel let down? I'm curious to know. 0% says disgusting, horrid window yet again. So hey, we've avoided the disgusting, utter failure window. And I don't know that I've actually heard anyone say that they feel that way, to be fair. I like to call it how I see it. The main thing I've been seeing is people saying, yeah, these were good signings, but I would have liked yada, yada, yada. Yeah, this was a good signing, but I would have preferred blah, blah, blah. And for me, like that, at a certain point, it just gets a little nitpicky, in my opinion. It gets a little bit like, if they would have listened to me, we would have fucking won the quad. And as much as I love to beat my own drum in that regard, I just can't complain about anything this transfer window, not one bit at all, because I said it with Xavi Simons when I was doing that midnight stream to 2 a.m. tracking the Xavi Simons medical, that I would take the heartbreak of Gibbs White and Ezzy all over again if it led to me getting Kudus and Xavi Simons. I'll be honest. I think a good question I heard, I was watching Nige Pierre Coys a little bit earlier today, and there was a good question I heard was, if Madison didn't get hurt, do we still go out and sign a guy like Xavi Simons? I don't know. I think it's a great question to at least ask. Big up Rush, big up Jacob. Good window overall, not perfect. I think that's fair. I agree that that's fair. I'm just objectively very, very through the moon with this window. I feel like I'm more happy about this window than people who are happy about Thomas Frank. And again, Thomas Frank for me has been backed more than any manager I've seen since Pochettino included. Like, Pochettino wasn't this backed. Jose for sure was not this backed, and et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to mention any more names, then they'll think you're obsessed. Is Kolo Muani better than Richarlison? It remains to be seen, at least in the Premier League, but you cannot argue with what this man was doing over at Frankfurt. Now, he didn't play all that much for PSG, but when he did play for PSG, he fucking scored. I think that Kolo Muani is a good deal. And again, it's a very low risk, high reward type of signing, similar to the João Palhinha. You get him on loan, all you're doing is paying his wages. I think, what did they say, about 4.4 mil we're going to pay this year for his wages? That's a pretty good deal. To get a guy to come in that I would argue starts over Richarlison, just based purely on abilities and attributes and what I think he's going to bring. I think he's faster. I think he's as big and strong. The things that Richarlison can do well, I believe Kolo Muani can do as well. Again, I reference back to what he did at Frankfurt, and he was a bad boy at Frankfurt, and there's a reason why PSG came in and spent over 70 mil on him. Palhinha loan plus option is great. Kolo straight loan is wild to me, with no option at all is nuts. Quez Ali, we don't know for sure that it is no option at all. They didn't say that. Usually when there is an option to buy, they say that, and them not saying it, and then the other people saying that there is no option to buy. I can't see a world where if he falls in love with Tottenham and we fall in love with him, I don't see a world in which we cannot just say, all right, we're going to do a deal now and just buy him outright, because then the player already wants to be here. We already want him here. And then it's just a matter of business to business rather than business to consumer. So I think that we could have done it. Would love to see Luka in the shirt this season, but he's young and having consistent minutes this year is so crucial. I do agree with that, Marco. It was fun to see him in that debut preseason match, though, with the assist and the goal. He looked like a bad man. DB Dish, big up. Good to see you. Hey, Jake, the UEFA squad will be interesting tomorrow. Are they announcing it tomorrow? I thought they already announced it. They did the media day. I saw a few names on there. I was like, who the hell is that guy? Some kid from the academy made it onto the UCL roster, so that's nice to see. But I don't recall actually seeing an official list. There it is. This guy, Byfield. Who is this guy? 16-year-old Junai Byfield was part of the first team squad's UCL Media Access Day. So this guy's getting his photo taken. I've never heard of him, but admittedly, I don't watch any more Academy games because they don't fucking broadcast all the Academy games. They just say, hey, figure it out. I've also got this bookmark here on some of the Premier League stat leaders so far, and I thought it'd be interesting to look at where Tottenham players rank with some of the best, and I'll run through that real quickly. So, topping the list of saves made so far in three matches, we've got Vicario at 13. That's 2 more saves than James Trafford. And you look at this list. There's some pretty good keepers on this list. But I would also say you think about the best keeper in Alisson, with arguably one of the best defenses, hasn't had to save a whole bunch. I think he only had 1 save in 90 minutes versus Arsenal, if I can remember right. Big up J-Mac. Good to see you in the house. I'm going to save that real quick. Your Cam Shanks, your 7.5. And then I don't believe we're on the clearances list. That is Virgil van Dijk. And again, Virgil van Dijk on aerial duels 1. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Mohamed Kudus is the only player to win 20-plus ground duels so far in the Premier League this season. He has 23. And next up is tied a whole bunch of people at 19. And then 18 and 17. But no one has cracked 20 except Kudus, and he's got 23 ground duels won. This guy, I'm telling you, and that's not even his best attribute, but he winning that motherfucking ball. Tyreek Mitchell, I didn't see our name on this at all. I don't remember, and this is as far as I got. So let's see, are we on interceptions? Look, Joe Roden. Hey, Joe Roden. What a memory. None of us on that list. Final third passes completed. Are anyone on this list? No. None of our players are on that list either. Accurate crosses, Mohamed Kudus with 8, number 2. Tied for second with Brian Mbeumo. Mohamed Kudus, I like to see that. We got the second best accurate crosser and the 10th best in Pedro Porro. Talk to me nicely or don't talk at all. Let's see, fouls 1. So guys getting fouled and then the ref blow the whistle. Don't see any Tottenham players. Let's see shots. How are we looking? Oh my God, Semenyo, that motherfucker. Richarlison with 8, number 6th in the Premier League. Okay, that's very nice to see. Goals scored. Better see Richarlison up here and Brennan Johnson. We've got 2 in the top 6. Talk to me nicely or don't talk at all. Everyone's saying, oh, Hugo Ikitiki. Oh, Ikitiki, he's so good. Yeah, he's tied with Richarlison and Brennan Johnson. Hold that. So is João Pedro with a silent R. Now looking at touches in the opposition box, Richarlison has 20. That's kind of crazy, but he doesn't have the second most shots. That's crazy. I do like Yankuba Minty, bro. He is a good forward player, very fast. Do we have anyone else on this list? No, just Richarlison. That's nice. Yankuba Minty again on take-ons. Mohamed Kudus in second with 9. Minty with 11. I think that, again, just speaks how good Minty actually has been, but let's remember they did just stomp up on City like we did, so a little bit of stat padding going on there. Shots on target. Are there any Tottenham? No. Chances created. We're not going to be on this list. No way. Yeah, we're not. No. Wait, are we? Yeah, Mohamed Kudus. Mohamed Kudus is the only motherfucker on all these lists. God damn. Shout out Mohamed Kudus, bro. I can't wait for my yellow Kudus kit to get here, which I'm also glad that the transfer window's open, and now the admin feels safe that they can soft launch that yellow kit today, which is very nice. It's a beautiful fucking kit, man. I cannot lie to you. Some of the gear and the jackets and the polos coming out, man, they look nice. Look at this motherfucking with the yellow, with the top blue stripe and the motherfucking yellow short. Oh my God, this kit is so cold. Anyway, I'm distracting myself, but I'm gonna get back to the comments. There's another super chat here. A user doubling up. Appreciate that. 2 super chats from a user so far. It says, do you see the club going back in for Savinho in January? I think it'll be interesting to see the relationship between Savinho and City, how it transpires over the next few months. Because honestly, there's reports saying that he was very frustrated to have his move blocked like that. There's reports saying that he's fine staying at City and he wants to work hard for his spot. And I would imagine that with Ryan Cherky and with Phil Foden getting hurt, that they don't want to just let another guy who can't play on the right there for him. They don't want to just let him go like that. I could see us going back in for Savinho in January. We still have that Savinho money because, as far as I understand it, we got Xavi Simons for 50 million euros, which is fucking silly cheap. You can't even buy Xavi Simons in FIFA for that cheap. However, Daniel Levy, man, hey, something about that man's bald head gets them deals over the line, and shit, I do like the way that them deals look. But big up a user for the second super chat, man. You are today's episode sponsored and brought to you by a user 4872. Richie Solanke telling Odegaard still average players. If we want to win something big, we need to bring top players. Just saying. I do agree with you, Oresh. However, I'm looking back at the most recent winners of an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup, which I absolutely think is possible for Frank and Tottenham Hotspur to win this year. You look at the Crystal Palace squad. Is our front four, let's say, the front three and then the 10, is those four better or worse than Palace? I guess Newcastle, Isak, he's pretty damn good. So that argument kind of falls by the wayside. But I'm looking at Palace's squad who won, and I think that that's absolutely accomplishable. Now, when you start talking about UCL, Premier League, obviously, I still feel like this is where I go back to. If we are really trying to win the Premier League and the Champions League at some point, players like Richie Solanke, Odegaard, in and around the starting 11 is not good enough. And one of these players will be starting for us, I believe. Unless Kolo Muani, one of them have to, I think. And definitely be some options off the bench. I think option on Muani was wanted by PSG, but we got burned by Timo. Shout out Timo, man. Have fun in New York. You lost to Bournemouth. Yes, we did, Ukmar. We did lose. I saw Paulinho get bullied by Taylor Adams. You mean Tyler Adams? Who's Taylor Adams? You talking about Tyler Adams? He wasn't fit, Ryan Gloria. We had a side that won Europa, the younger players stepping up, tons of injuries. If you said you would then add Paulinho, Kudu, Simons, and Muani, we're upgrading. Gaffer, this is what I'm talking about I like to remember how I felt 12 months ago or at the beginning of Ange Postecoglou's tenure, since we are at the beginning front doorsteps of Thomas Frank's tenure. These are things I like to remember how I felt and what I was, overall giving. And for me, you would have told me this 2 years ago, I would have cried. Tell me this last year, I'm still in shock. I don't believe that, am I wrong in saying I feel something bad's around the corner for us? Because how do we get these signings and everyone's still upset, man? I just don't get it. Ainge didn't get the players he wanted, but Frank got 4 quality top players. Now he needs to give us something. Something like the domestic cup this season. What do you say? Absolutely agree with that, Oresh. Again, like I said earlier, I think with Palace winning it shows that it is absolutely up for grabs. Doesn't matter who your opponent is. You just got to be better on the day. And with Frank and with these players, we should be able to just be better on the day. We showed that we could put up a damn good fight versus Paris, which is the best team in Europe. And then we showed that we could put up a dominating performance versus City. Now, whether that means City is worse and we're better or whatever, I think us losing to Bournemouth, for me, doesn't negate or erase the good just because of the one bad. But it was 90 minutes of awful bullshit. Shot on goal in the 70th minute. That is atrocious. And you would have expected Thomas Frank to switch something up. You would have expected him to adapt in some way, like everyone says he does, and we just didn't see it. And I think it was a disappointment. However, it's a part of the growing pains, in my opinion, when you're trying to go in a similar direction but in a different way. You're going to be working out different muscles, and this is just part of the growing pains, in my opinion. Big up Harmless Potato. Do you think Odegaard should be given a run of games? I think he's going to get his chances, and it's up to him if he takes it. I think right now, Matthias Tell is probably edging. There's that word, edging. I think he probably edges out Odobert right now. But Odobert, again, was linked with a move away, and Thomas Frank had basically said no, that he wanted to keep him around. I think Odobert has qualities that Thomas Frank sees that I think he has, and it's just a matter of grabbing the bull by the horns, I think. Potato says easily the best window in the last 25 years, 8.5 out of 10. Big up Harmless Potato. You're going with an 8.5 out of 10. I like to see that. That means that you feel at least closer to me than a lot of the other people online that I've actually listened to. A lot of people still, what are we doing? Get our fingers out our butt. And it's like, bro, we got Kudus, Simons, Colo, and Paulinho. I am not complaining. Colo Mwani can play as a left wing. Yes, he can. He's done it before. Mate, you're still rubbish. Frank got exposed. All right. I mean, if that's how you feel, like that's how you feel, right? I mean, again, it's one game. It doesn't really erase all the good that Thomas has done so far. Jed stunk the place out on Saturday, cooked by David Brooks, a man recovering from cancer. I don't recall seeing that, Sean Hurl. Can you point me in the direction in which I can find that? What time on the game clock? Do you think Xavi Simons sees Spurs as a stepping stone? Billy, now I don't know, because I don't actually know Xavi Simons personally, as much as I would love to say the opposite. I don't know him personally enough to say how he's going to feel one way or another, but I do know what he does say. And he did say today that Mickey Van de Veen told him, we need you, so come here. And that's what happened. So whether he sees us as a stepping stone or not, I really have no idea. But what I do know is that Mickey Van de Veen got that pull. Mickey Van de Veen got that Ryan Gosling on a movie set energy. And I like to see it. He gets what he wants, and we got Xavi Simons. And shout out that Dutch connection, baby. Talking real nice. I would imagine that Xavi Simons as well is a little bit of the kind of guy that's like, if you like with Romero, like with even Kane and these type of players, like they want to win things. They have a lot of pride and confidence in themselves. And I think that Xavi is one of those players that has extreme confidence in himself, and he feels as though he should be playing in the Champions League. Now, I guess that directly refutes the whole Ainge quote from a few years ago where he says, we don't want players who want to come here to play Champions League. We want players who want to play for Tottenham. Now, Xavi Simons hasn't said he came here because of Champions League nights, but he did say Mickey Van de Veen got him to come here. So it sounds like he's willing to come here just to play for Tottenham because he wants to play for Tottenham. But he did, after his move was official to Leipzig, he did the next year, I think, say, I want to move because I want to play Champions League football. And I think that, you know, if we learned anything in this transfer window, it's throwing a fit, letting your desires be known helps you get your way. Look at Mark Gahey. He tried to do the right thing from the beginning to the end to get his move to a bigger club than Palace. And in the end, he got fucked. And that's partly down to Oliver Glasner, who's not making the best showing of himself at this current juncture in regards to how he handles player personnel and how he treating that club over there. However, Mark Gahey does everything correct and does not get his move. And then Isak does what I would quantify as a whiny little bitch, and he got his move. Who was the other player that? Oh, Johan Visa. He cried and made a statement. My official statement is Brentford must let me leave, and then he got his move. So there's clearly something in the water there. Sean Earl says, I have high hopes for Odobert and Tell. Come on, you Spurs. Big up for the super chat, my friend. The £2 dono to the channel, and YouTube chat member extraordinary. I do appreciate you every single time that you're here. Hopefully you're doing well. But still, man, I don't know where Jed stunk out the place. Let me know. I do want to verify that. Question: what did Kudus do against Bournemouth? Apparently ground duels, dribbles, and accurate crosses. But, you know, I'll be honest, Kudus is... We can't just rely on Kudus the way that we rely on him so far, which is... that shit's going to burn out real quick because of how much we need him. And it's basically everything down the right looks like there's something that could be there. I don't actually think... Now, the one thing I think Kudus did not do well in the match versus Bournemouth is help out Pedro Porro at all. It was very clear that Pedro Porro was getting done up nasty by Semenyo. Now, if you remember, Leandro Trossard also was doing Pedro Porro up pretty nasty, and Brendan Johnson wasn't helping him in that situation. But you know, I think that yeah, I don't really think he was that good or that bad versus Bournemouth, to be honest. But well, speaking of Semenyo and Kudus, I saw this today from the Black Stars account, which is the Ghana national team. It's Semenyo talking shit to Mohamed Kudus. What a fraud!
Hey guys, you know who it is? Cuckoo, my boy. How was the game on Saturday? Let me go ask him. Let me go ask him how the game was on Saturday.
Wow, what a fraud!
How's the game on Saturday, bro?
Oh, it was good. We'll be back.
This dickhead. This guy is a dickhead. Bro, okay, so a few observations. I rewound the video just a little bit, and I want to say this. He's got his phone on a gimbal, which indicates to me that the social media admin gave him the social media phone and equipment to use this. So I'm going to say this probably wasn't even Semenyo's original idea, and he fucking stole it from the social media admin who said, hey, you should go ask Kudus how the game was, which maybe he didn't want to get stuck in versus Semenyo because he didn't want to hurt his fellow Ghanaian international. I don't know. That's just, you know, obviously tinfoil hat territory. But, you know, I'm watching this video and I'm like, okay, so when he starts running, it's very stable. Look at this. He starts running and the fucking picture is very, very smooth. So he's definitely on a stabilizer, a gimbal of some kind for the phone. And it looks like a pretty wide angle as well. So it might even just be like a GoPro gimbal. And then he go running up to Kudus. And look at this man. He just been sweating, training, and I'm assuming it's hot because they're all sweaty. And he just asked him a question, and clearly Kudus wasn't listening. He's just like, hey, he thought they were taking a selfie or something. What a dickhead.
How's the game on Saturday, bro?
Oh, it was good.
And then he realizes you're talking about when Bournemouth beat us. He's like, no, we'll be back. We'll be back.
We'll be back.
1-0.
What a prick. What a freaking prick. Enjoy your win, Bournemouth, and then we'll see you in 10th place, huh? I think that's where he's going to end up. What is this?
I mean, what can you say? It's classic Tottenham. Do what look good in this.
Classic.
Oi, do what that's not radio. Oh, do what look good in this.
This kid is so nice. I'm probably going to get done for copyright. For this track. Oh, wow. They put Bernaldo in there. Wow. I didn't even mean to pause it here. Bro, you rate Xavi Simons based off FIFA. No, I don't. I just said that I've signed him in FIFA. I actually watched him quite extensively at PSV Eindhoven and very gently over there at Red Bull Leipzig. So, Ukmar, you can try to derail the show all you want, but you can't get me, bro. You can't catch me out. I'm honest. And the best thing about being honest and authentic in everything that I say is I don't lie. So I always know what I say. I don't try and like based off FIFA, bro, do one. Big up Jordan, member for 8 months. Big Bertha looking lonely. An EFL Cup would do nice. Yo, I want the FA Cup aesthetically. I want the FA Cup, but I'll take care of it. I don't give a damn. I'll take either one. And Big Bertha does need a friend. And who knows, by the time we win that thing 100%, I'll be in a different location. Therefore, the studio will look different. And then we'll get them both displayed right behind me. You know, I got Big Bertha on my back and then insert cute pet name for whatever trophy we win after. Come on, man. Cam Shanks, you can't please everyone. Ain't that the truth? Bro, we have a phenomenal window and you still have Spurs fans. But did we do enough? Did we get everything that we needed? And it's like, does anyone ever get there? How many times you gone to the grocery store and you come back and you're like, ah, God damn it, I forgot the cilantro. Oh, I forgot onions or whatever. Like, for me, again, this is the best window I've ever seen in my Tottenham Hotspur fandom. Ever. Since 2012. Clint Dempsey. That was the best one since. Since then, I ain't seen nothing. And you got to go before that to fans who, were here when Van der Vaart was signed, and they say that is our biggest signing in recent history outside of what we've done now. So I'm extremely pleased with what we're seeing. Xavi can play on the wings. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. We wanted to show Gibbs White before Madison got injured. That is a good point, and I did see Gibbs White as kind of the Papa Matassar role, if you will. But another note here on the Gibbs White, a.k.a. Horgan Gibbs Shite. I don't know if y'all know this, but he's not having a great season. He has lost possession as a result of an unsuccessful touch more than any Premier League player this season. There's no one in the league who has lost possession more from a shitty touch than Horgan Gibbs Shite. And he can hold that, as far as I'm concerned, unless he was held at gunpoint like I believe he was. Then I can forgive him. However, Snorlackis, you fat son of a bitch. This is exactly what you deserve. Paulinho will stay at Tottenham. Don't worry, Levy got it. I mean, shit, 20-some million. That's a good-ass deal if he can get back to that player that he used to be. Big up Logic. Can I get a, why don't you cry about it, buddy? You know, I will. I will play it. And you want to know why? Because this is exactly how I feel towards Tottenham fans. We didn't do enough in the window, mate. We didn't cover all our grounds, mate. This board always does it.
Bang! Go fucking cry about it, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. Go fucking cry about it. But Levy never gets the wallet and spends the money. I mean, I'll tell you what. I don't give a good golly fuck about the final number. I care about the quality that we've brought in and hopefully gotten the shitty shit out. Like with Ainge, they weren't perfect incomings, but the outgoings were fantastic. We got rid of Dyer. We got rid of Sanchez. We got rid of Winks. We got rid of Skip. We got rid of a lot of these players that I've been asking to get gone for a minute. They got gone. And I like the transfer windows, mostly them, because of who we got rid of. And this one isn't necessarily about who we got rid of, but it is about who we've brought in. 2 of these 4 signings, not including Takai, which if you include Takai and Tell, that's 6 signings in the summer. And 2 of them, so even with including Tell and Takai, that is what? 33% of the signings were dream signings for me. I cannot complain. Benito Sotelo says, if no cups, I expect 5th place minimum. I'll be honest, I'll take 8th. I'll take 9th. I'll take 10th. If we win a cup, I do not care really where we finish. I'm going to hold the same energy. Doesn't really bother me. But what does bother me is if we get 5th and no cups, because that's just, I've seen that enough. I've seen that movie enough. How many times must I watch Dumb and Dumber before I can fucking quote every line bar for bar? Like, I've seen this story, no cups, no trophies, in 5th place. I've seen that so many times. I'm not saying that this isn't a good standard to have for your season. I'm just saying for me, I won a motherfucking trophy again. That shit was fun. I loved it. It made all that heartache and heartbreak worth the fucking ride because we got a sweet, sweet victory at the end. And now we got Big Bertha, and she's forever. Big Bertha is forever. Speaking of Dumb and Dumber.
That's a lovely accent you have. New Jersey?
Austria.
Austria? Well then, good day, mate. Let's put another shrimp on the barbie.
One of my favorite lines from that movie. A user with the 3rd super chat. This episode brought to you by a user. Says, we have cake. Savinho would have been the cherry. Honestly, I would have preferred Savinho over Kolo Muani if we had to pick between the two, just because I do think the wet dream of Savinho on the left and Kudus on the right with then Xavi Simons through the middle. Oh my God. I don't give a fuck if it's Richarlison or Dominic Solanke up front. Those 3 players there, bro, that would be absolutely orgasmic. It would be like a Roman orgy. That's how much sex would be happening on the pitch. Palace is better manager and players than you. Managers, Yeah, I'd probably agree with that, at least accomplishment-wise. And players, I don't know. Some, yes, like Wharton, Eze before he left, Gahey, I guess you could argue, but I would take Romero and Van de Ven over Gahey personally. But I'd take Gahey over Danso, even though I do like me some Danso. Are you going to watch USA versus South Korea? Does that answer your question? Heung-min Son, Heung-min Hung, Heung-min Dad. Which, by the way, I did a Heung-min Son watch along on Saturday night because they played. And I might have to start doing like MLS betting streams because I'm telling you, I did, and it's the weirdest thing. Anyone who knows anything about YouTube, which Ultra, I will fight you. You say, fight me, Jacob? Let's fight then, cuz. Let's throw these fisticuffs. But what I was going to say before I got distracted with the offer of violence was, if I can remember now, that a bunch of people tuned into the MLS betting, not MLS betting thing. A bunch of people who bet were in my chat for the Sunny Watch Along talking about their bets, their payouts, the spreads, and all this shit that I don't really understand. And I was like, damn, like, how is there so many people here that I've never seen before, and they're all here to bet on MLS? And I didn't hashtag bet, I didn't hashtag none of that. I was just doing a fucking come hang out. I even ate dinner. It was chill. But then I'm looking at the analytics. The video almost hit 3K. I don't understand how the video can almost hit 3K when the peak concurrent viewers never went over 75. But I've had streams where there's 200, 300 people here, most of them off of a redirect. They're here for the majority or the entirety of the show, and the stream ends, and I'll get like 1.5, 2K views. How does the Sunny video get 3K views when I didn't? And that was like, as I ended, it was at 2.8. I was like, what? How the fuck did that happen? Anyway, I might have to start doing fucking betting streams on the weekends. So if you start seeing me with that visor, what is that? That clear green visor that those people wear, and I'm gonna have a pencil in my ear, and I'm gonna be writing shit. We're gonna be betters, man. I'm not good at it. My wife will leave me if I lose money, so I probably actually won't bet. But I did create a Bovada account in the event that I do go forward with it, because these motherfuckers, some dude won $1,800. He's like, I'm up. And I was like, yeah, super chat it. And then he never said anything. So like, what's up? I would love Semenyo at Tottenham. At this point, he can go fuck himself, in my humble opinion. Still call Trash Can Tommy got battered by Iriola. Vicario Sicario kept Spurs in the game. Hey, put some respect on Vicario Sicario, the #1 leading saves in the Premier League. Shout out Vicario. But yes, we did lose. Yes, we did get a little dominated. Spence failed to prevent so many crosses in that first half. Played like he was living off hype off of the call up and IG braggadocio. Bring me your wingers. How about Brooks cooking your ass? I don't remember Brooks cooking his ass personally, but I am biased. I am part of the Jed Spence redemption gang, which shit, stocks are up right now, but I don't really recall. Oh shit, I'm going backwards on the wrong tab. But I don't recall that guy beating him a whole bunch. Big up Just a Harmless Potato every single time. Chelsea got 67 players and they still got Sanchez in goal. Isn't that good? Love to see that. And we also, Kudus and Xavi Simons were toted to go to Chelsea. And then guess what? They ended up at Tottenham anyway. What are people liking? Oh, did y'all see this? Arsenal tweeted out today, making an impact for Nani Madueke. And I just like, bro, what other club does this? You lose with one shot on target, and then you post, but this guy gave us impact. He. That is just fucking weird to me, man. Arsenal are such a weird, cringy club, weird, cringy fan base. I swear their admin is cringy as fuck. Like, we make weird videos that don't really speak to me because I'm not the young TikTok kind of guy. But, like, you know, it's like...
Salted peanuts. Salt and ice. Salted peanuts.
Christmas isn't cancelled.
Christopher someone.
Christmas isn't real.
Christmas isn't real.
Christmas isn't
nice.
Nope.
Natural.
Nope.
Cancelled.
Nice.
Castle.
Wait a minute.
Cat. Labradoodle.
Cat?
Huh? Labrador. Caps.
I don't understand what they're looking at.
Labradoodle.
Boo.
Blue.
Blue.
Poo.
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 Boo.
Boo.
I made the mashed potatoes.
Baked mashed potatoes.
Am I the mashed potato? Mashed potatoes.
Am I the mashed potato?
Beans and mashed potato.
I'm making mashed potatoes. I can't get it.
Lucas.
I don't understand the challenge. Can someone explain the challenge? The headphone challenge? What does that mean? The lads versus the headphone challenge. Like, I don't get what they're listening. Can they hear it? Are they guessing? I don't. This will probably get me copyrighted, but fuck it, y'all. You're here live. Let's get it. Look at this. Look at this. I like this edit, y'all. I'm gonna risk the copyright. I don't give a fuck. Oh, we're getting copyrighted the fuck out of it. Yeah, I did see that, J-Man. That's hilarious. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, they're dropping a bunch of sound bites there. I don't know what the fuck any of that was saying. It was like, I think it was French. Hey, I love the flickering. The flickering makes it like that's how you know it's real. Get stuck in, Zavi. Come on, man. Hey, bro, he's gonna cook, man. I think Cole Mwani's gonna cook. A lot of people are saying he's this, he's that, or the other. Bro, just wait. Just wait. Okay, Kudus, we already know what you about. With the Bro, Kudus is disgusting, man. I'm still so fucking excited about the Kudus signing. God damn. I mean, look at this photo, bro. If you would have shown this to me 12 months ago, I would have said someone smoked crack and then got AI to make this photo. Because there ain't no way I would have believed these three players. And then add Polina in there. Fuck it. I think it's a fantastic window. I'm through the moon. It's Chinese Whispers message goes round. Chinese Whispers message. What is that? Is that Darren? I don't know what that means. But big up to you, Darren, YouTube chat member. Hopefully you're doing too well. Hopefully you're doing very well. To dare is too risky. Decent window, not perfect, but we've seen worse. Bro, name a better window. I'm curious. Like, anyone who's not thrilled, can they name a better window than this? The only complaints I've heard is like, oh, center back, oh, left wing. We've got 100 left wingers. We've got a handful of center backs. Ben Davies being one of them. But Frank likes Ben Davies, so he wants him here. You don't want to clog the Ben Davies pathway, do you? I certainly don't. But anyway, let's go. Let's rank these players, shall we? Let's get to the. We're here on an. Oh shit, we're already on an hour. God damn. So let's go ahead and start ranking some of these players. The categories are as such. Let me zoom in a little bit so y'all can see it better. We've got at the very, very top of the list, we've got goated. Underneath that, in the second tier, we have starting 11. Then we have good to great, average squad player, he needs some milk, and get rid. I thought that those were pretty poignant and not too offensive. So that's nice to see. So like, for example, Brandon Austin, some would say get rid. I'm going to say he needs some milk because he can go. It doesn't matter. He's just hanging around. He's doing his best Alfie Whiteman impression. You got a Kinksky. I think that's like a average squad player. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to rank some of these players. I got the chat pulled up right here so I can see y'all chatting. Let me know what y'all think, if you agree or disagree. And we can move on there. You know, I would say something like corrupt as in, oh, if you super chat, I'll move a player to a certain tier, but that just feels like money grabbing. And I'm, you know, it's all good. You can just comment for free. Like Koto Takai, I'm going to say he needs some milk. Clearly, he passed his physical, and we ain't seeing him in anything except for the promotional videos for the new kit and the new gear. So that's nice to see. So the first guy passes the message on and eventually gets corrupted. Oh, I know what you're talking about. They call it telephone, I think, to be like not saying something about Chinese people, which I don't know what the message would be saying about Chinese people, but I think it's called telephone here in America. And then we've got, let me see. I'm trying to find an example of each that I could just throw in here, but I'll just start going in order. Kulusevski. Now, I'm a little like somewhere in between starting 11 and good to great. Like I think he's good, and I think there's games where he's great. And in this 11, I don't know where he starts right now. I'll be honest, maybe in that 8 position, maybe in the midfield, but I definitely don't want him on the right over Kudus. I don't want him in the 10 over Xavi or Kudus. I don't know that Frank would see him as a 9. So I don't know that he's going to crack my starting 11 tier here. I'm going to put him somewhere good to great because he's sometimes good, sometimes great. In a lot of our losses last year, like Jed Spence, he was sometimes our best player in a loss. So with Kulusevski, I think that that's pretty fair, good to great. Y'all let me know in the comments or in the chat below. Start, bench, sell, Ezzy, Gibbs White, and Buemo. I would start in Buemo, bench Ezzy, and sell Morgan Gibbs. Shite. Fuck Morgan Gibbs White. Big up Joey fan over there on the Twitch. If you are on the Twitch, hello. If you're on the Kick, hello. Neither one are monetized, but you can just say hello. And then we've got Paulinho. And I think that based on how I was talking earlier, y'all know where I'm at. Right now, I've got him in starting 11 with potential to be goated. However, I'm going to put him at the starting 11 because he's a surefire starter for me week in, week out. I think, for me, João Paulinho is one of those players that brings much needed experience and quality. You don't want just an old fuck, but you want an old fuck who knows what he's doing and can still do it. Big up Citywide Bri, big up Jacob in chat. We know Decky will not be ready until the next season. So yeah, maybe I need to put him in. He needs some milk then because he's hurt. I don't know. Archie Gray. Now this is going to be a divisive one. I can imagine that some people are going to feel differently about this. Right now, I'm going to put him an average squad player. Some would probably say he needs some milk. Some would probably say he's good to great. For me, I just haven't seen enough in his desired position. Whatever, people are like, well, on Reddit, he did have him a box-to-box 8. He. And then for Ainge, he played right back. He played center back. He played a 6. So I really just don't think we've seen the best of him. I think right now my assessment is he's average in most of the positions. He's good and bad and okay. And so I'm just going to put him right there in the average squad player because I think that his versatility at least keeps him around. However, it's not been good enough yet. But I say yet because he's 19 years old. So we can still, like with Tell and Odegaard, like I was saying earlier, I still think the best is yet to come for Archie Gray. But at this point, I'm going to have to put him at average squad player. Still Call says Archie's Gray needs a loan. I don't know that I would loan him though, because I don't know that I would want to get him off of our squad. I like having him on the bench there personally. Ben Davies is up next. I'm going to put him in a category just to keep my energy consistent. However, this is not an indictment on my opinion of the man. I'm going to put him in get rid. We simply just have to have better. A guy who's been here for 10 or more years of that level, not good enough from a club's perspective, from a bench perspective, from an all-around perspective. I might be interested to see in he needs some milk. However, I'm just going to put him in the get rid. I think it's been time. Frank likes him. However, I can't agree with Frank on that one. Now, Dane Scarlett is still on this team, if I'm not mistaken. He has not been loaned. But I'm still going to put him in. He needs some milk. He needs some game time. He needs some milk. He needs some confidence. He obviously got that goal last year for us. That was very critical, but just not enough. And he's getting to that age where it's like, are you still a star boy or are you a star young man? Because you're getting up there in age, buddy. Like Alfie Devine. It's like, how long are we going to wait for this proper Tottenham lad to come up from the ranks? I just don't. I'm going to put him in. He needs some milk. I think that's pretty fair. If you disagree, let me know. Brennan Johnson. Now, this may be a hot take as well. I don't know. But Brennan Johnson, I'm going to put him in average squad player. I think there's times where he's good. The Europa League final where he hit the game winner, that's a great performance because we fucking won it. However, for the most part, when he plays, I feel like he's pretty average. I feel as though he's just an average squad player. Coming off of the bench and to play the last 15 minutes, I'm not too upset about. He's got enough pace in that regard and ability to score that I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Dominic Solanke. Oh, I didn't think that this one would hit me like this. I feel as though he needs some milk, and then there's games in which I'm like, he's good. So maybe I'll put him right in the middle there at average squad player, because just hasn't been enough. You want your striker to score. However, I do understand, and I'm sympathetic to the fact that in an Ange Postecoglou system, the striker is usually used as a scapegoat. Go up there and die and let the others thrive is essentially his role. And he still scored quite a bit of goals. But for me, if you're a striker and Brendan Johnson ends the season with more goals than you, we've got to look hard and fast at. There's some things he does well. There's some things I like. And then there's some times where I'm like, I would like him to be more. I'd like him to do more. And I think that we haven't really gotten to see him with a chance with Thomas Frank, and let's see how Thomas Frank wants to utilize him. But for right now, I don't want to say as bad as needing milk. I also don't want to overrate him and say he's good to great. So I think right there at average squad player is a good spot, which is the same place I'm going to put Matthias Tell. And some may say he needs some milk, and I do not harshly disagree with that, because maybe some milk would help him feel more confident. Maybe he'll feel stronger and better about what he's doing. But I do think at this juncture, he's been an average player at best. Definitely wouldn't say good to great. I would say he's an average squad player with potential to be good. And let's see if we can utilize that potential. I'll be honest. James Maddison, look, I think he was pivotal in the role that he played for some of that Europa lead up, but he did get injured and he did miss some of the most crucial games. He is injured yet again off of a non-contact injury, and by definition, I'm just going to say, buddy, you need some milk. Once you are a player who got injured and then you start a YouTube channel, that is when I'm going to start thinking that the fries are being put in the bag. Now, I'm going to put this next one where I want them to go and where I think they are. And it's Mohamed Kudus. And I'll be honest, I very much respect every single one of you in your opinion on Mohamed Kudus. However, he's going into goated, plain and simple. Mohamed Kudus is a GOAT, and we've got the GOAT here at Tottenham Hotspur. And I am so thankful and so happy and so proud. And I just can't wait to continue seeing him thrive. He's goated, bro. I don't even gotta fucking say more than that. All right, next up we've got Guglielmo Vicario. Now, some people think he needs some milk. Some people think he's an average squad player. Some would say good to great. Obviously starting 11 with what we've got. But you know what? If you remember about 20, 30 minutes ago in the show, there was something I was saying, and I'm going to just fuck it. I'm putting him at goated because I'm feeling good today. So I'm going to put Vicario at goated. Is he goated all the time? No. Does he make all the goated decisions? No. And whenever we watch him play, we'll probably say, Jacob, I don't know why you put him in the goated category, but you know what? When you lead the league in saves, you're clearly doing something right. And the defense is probably doing something a little bit wrong. Richarlison now. Some good, some bad. So again, like with Brennan Johnson, I find them so eerily similar in the sense that like they can be good or they can be shit. And they do score and they do some good stuff. So I'm going to not say that they need milk. I'm going to put Richarlison with Brennan Johnson here, an average squad player, because I think that the good and the bad, they even each other out to mean that you're an average squad player. Maybe I'm wrong. Now, next one I think is also, the next few I think are going to be a little controversial. So let me get some of the quick ones out the way. Kevin Danso, I'm going to put him in good to great, borderlining starting 11. And the only reason he's not in that starting 11 is because Kuti and Van de Veen are just that damn good. But I think this is an easy selection here, putting Kevin Danso in good to great. He's definitely better than average in my opinion. I would even teeter, if there's a tier in between, this is where I put Danso, in that tier in between. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put him in good to great because he's been good and he's been great. And I like to see that. Did we got any other easy ones here? Shit, Kuti? Yeah, I got somewhere to put Kuti. Right here in goated. I think Tottenham Hotspur fans have been too fucking harsh on the GOAT, Kuti Romero. All right? I think they forget that he's the fucking GOAT. So that's just plain and simple. Let's put it there. And then I'm also just real quick, Mickey Van de Veen, I'm going to have to put him alongside on the left of Romero, just to fill out that formation. I'm putting both of them goated. My center backs have more European final goals than Arsenal's, and they would call them goated. So you know what? Fuck them. We're trophy winning goats. How about that? Another one that's going to be very easy, quick for me. I'm going to put him in goated, even though he hasn't played 1 minute for Tottenham Hotspur. I am biased, and I'm saying Xavi Simons is in my goated category. I'm so excited for Xavi Simons, Mohamed Kudus. You know what? I got too many in goated. I'm going to put Vicario in starting 11. I just flip-flop live on air. You've seen it here. You've seen it here first. I'm going to put Vicario there for me in the starting 11. I'll move him down because I just don't know if we got that many goated players, because I want to put Xavi Simons in the goated category because I'm still so fucking excited. For Radu Dragusin, I'm not going to say get rid. I'm just going to say that buddy needs some milk. He needs some milk. He needs some milk. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, he's injured. He's been injured for a long time. His first European star ever. He gets a fucking red card for pulling on Buddy. Now, some people want to blame Ainge for that. I blame the player for making the decision on the pitch to do that. Pedro Porro for me. I'm going to put him in starting 11 as well. I don't think he's goated. I think his personality is goated. I think his energy and his passion is goated. But I really do see him in this as just like a starting 11 kind of a guy. You know what I just realized? There's no Destiny Udogie on this list. Because this is Basuma and this is Jed Spence. Where's Destiny? I don't see Destiny. But I guess we'll do Spence next. And I'm going to put Spence in my starting 11 as well. I do think he's one of the better, if not the best, fullback on the team in regards to going forward, add, defending, equals where I rank you as a fullback. I think he's the best of the two in regards to going forward and defending. I do love me some Jed Spence. Now, Basuma, I really want to put him on He Needs Some Milk. I'll be honest, Basuma has not really made me the happiest camper outside of some of those European matches and the first 9 matches for Ainge Postecoglou. I just don't know where he really fits in anymore. I want to say get rid, but as a guy who was very excited about Basuma signing for us, I don't know if I can do it. I'm going to put him in He Needs Some Milk. Odebert, I think that's a pretty quick, easy one. I'm going to put average squad player. Just haven't seen enough. Much like Matthias Tell, I think the ceiling is high. I think the potential is there. However, just haven't seen enough. Therefore, I can't say he's been good or great. I can't say he needs some milk because I don't really... My super chat gone. Where? No, it's here. Your super chat's right here, buddy. But if you meant in hindsight, your super chat is hyping up 2 players that I've put in average squad player, maybe that's what you meant. But I got your super chat right there. I didn't unstart or nothing, but I just haven't seen enough. But me personally, I do think that Matthias Tell and Odebert, they've got potential. Hopefully we see it sooner rather than later. Lucas Bergvall, you know what? I would have on another day probably said somewhere like average squad player. But I'm going to be honest, when he came onto the pitch versus Bournemouth, I really thought that he was a huge catalyst and the reason we even looked interested in that fucking match. I think that his ability to pick up the ball, drive into the open space, to think 2 steps ahead is absolutely critical for a midfielder. Some say he's a box-to-box 8. Some want to see him play in the 10. I think all 3 different areas in the midfield he can play and thrive in. But where we saw him versus Bournemouth, I think he's frustrated not getting the start, and I like to see that in a young player. But I think he's got really good footballing IQ, and I want to say he's good. For the most part, I think he's been good, and I think that maybe 1 or 2 performances you could argue were great. I think he was a great off of the bench versus Bournemouth. Would have loved to see us get something out of that, but it is what it is. Kolo Muani, Obviously, can't judge him too harshly or highly at this juncture because we haven't seen him play in a Tottenham shirt. But based off of what I've seen, I put him somewhere good to great, starting 11. And I'm just going to simply put him starting 11 due to the fact that all my other strikers are an average squad player. So I'm just going to somewhat hope that Kolo Muani does cook for us like he did for Frankfurt. And that'll be definitely starting 11 material. Pop Matessar is another one of those guys that I would see that's kind of that in-between starting 11 to good to great tier, but I'm going to put him in the starting 11 based off of purely what I've seen him do under Thomas Frank. I think he was highly instrumental in the match versus City. I think all preseason he was probably, if you look at the preseason as a whole, our best player throughout the entirety of it from start to finish. So I like what I've seen from Papa Matessar. I think that he deserves to get the start, and I'm putting him in my starting 11. And then we get Rodrigo Bentancur, a.k.a. Mr. Racismo. Now, I do forgive him. Sonny forgave him. I must forgive him too. Some games I feel like he's an average squad player. Some games I'm like, wow, he was good to great. And then some games I'm like, he should start in the 11 because he was our best midfielder on X day or whatever. And I think some of that is a little bit indicative, of just where we are as a team and where our squad is, yada, yada. But I'll be honest, not seen enough to say for sure starting 11. So I'm going to put him in good to great. I think sometimes he's average, sometimes he's good, sometimes he's great. And I think good to great is a fair spot there for Rodrigo Bentancur. And there is no Destiny Udogie, but I'm going to put Destiny Udogie in kind of the same area, that in between starting 11, good to great. But as of right now, I feel as though it is Jed Spence's job to lose. I think he's done enough to warrant the start. And if he's not playing well, then you take him off. But also, I would like to see Frank take Pedro Porro off a little bit sooner because he was getting cooked for over an hour by Semenyo. And the change I felt like was a little late, but maybe some of that was due to how much we can actually get from Destiny at this juncture. So I'll read off this list real quick. I'm trying to fly through these, and I've also got another tier here on a tab, and we're going to predict the table for the Premier League. But to round this out, I want to say this. We've got 4 players in GOATed. Xavi, Kudus, Van de Ven, Romero are the 4 players I've picked in my GOATed category, which is the top category, untouchables category, don't even look at them category. Some people are going to probably disagree, say I'm overrating Romero, Van de Ven, Xavi, whatever, maybe even Kudus. If you think I've overrated all 4 of these, that's perfectly fine. You're wrong. Because for me, I wouldn't let either 4 of these go for not a fucking thing in the world. You can convince me to get rid of these players. Some of these players I would not let anyone get, but I would also entertain offers for in the starting 11. But obviously, João Palhinha, Vicario are 2 for me that are absolutely cemented in the starting 11, if not the best that we have available, regardless of fitness or anything. Pedro Porro, Jed Spence. I think that at this juncture, they're going to be my starting fullbacks as well. Kolo Muani is going to be my starting striker. And Pop Matessar has done enough for me. So how many players is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 10 players. We almost have a really well-rounded starting 11. How about that? But you know what this is missing out of these 10 players that are in the top 2 tiers? The chat that said we needed a left winger, though. Or I think it was a user super chatted, but we needed a left winger. And that seems to be the clear hole here in this. Where's the left winger? And then you go down a tier to good to great. I have Kulu, Danso, Bergval, and Bentancur all in good to great. Maybe that's where Kulu's spot is. Maybe we move Kulu to the left side. I don't know. But there is a clear hole there, clearly. Average squad player is the number 1 that we have, in my opinion, with Kingsley, Archie Gray, Brennan Johnson, Dominic Solanke, Matthias Tell, Richarlison, and Odebert. And tied for second is the second worst tier with Brandon Austin, Koto Takai, Dane Scarlett, James Madison, Radu Dragusin, and Yves Bissouma. They all need some milk. I'm not saying get rid of them immediately. I'm just saying they need some milk. Maybe the milk is them leaving. Maybe it is just being stronger. Maybe it is just being better with the chances that you get. Just not good enough. And when you add these two up, that is a lot of players that are in average or need some milk. And then I've got Lonely Ben Davies here in the get rid. And which is funny because about 2 years ago we did this, and there were so many players that we put in get rid / he needs some milk. Now I did attempt to have a panel today. However, no, I don't know. No one can make it, but there you are. That's my rankings of Tottenham Hotspur squad. I feel like it's a lot more balanced than it was the last time I did this about 2 years ago. I do think that this is a better looking thing that we have going on. However, the average squad player, he needs some milk. This is obviously like Madison is one of those. If he's healthy, he's somewhere up here. Dragusin, if he is what they say he is, he's somewhere up there. Koto Takai, all remains to be seen. He might be an average squad player. Basuma might be average squad player, good to great, depending on if we ever see him again. But being late, bro, you definitely need some milk. All right, so next we will move over, and this is where I'm going to need y'all's help. This is where I'm going to allow more fluctuation. But I've got the 20 Premier League teams here, including Ipswich Town. What the fuck? This isn't right. So there's 3. What the fuck? I thought this was a new updated one. I guess we'll use Southampton as Sunderland. We'll use Ipswich as Leeds. And wait, where's the other team? Oh, Leicester. Leicester will be Leeds. Ipswich will be Burnley. And Southampton will be Sunderland. So Sunderland, or aka Southampton, aka Sunderland, I'm going to put them 17th, just to get these ones out of the way so we're not confused. I'm going to put Leeds to get relegated, and I'm going to put Burnley to get relegated. And you know who else is getting relegated? West Ham. I know they won 3-0 or whatever with 3 quick goals in succession, but I'm going to start from the bottom here, and I'm going to say my 3 relegation teams are West Ham, Leeds, and Burnley. And then in 17th, I think Southampton. Now 13, 14, 15, 16, I think is going to be up for grabs between quite a few people, and I think one of those people are going to be Brentford. I think Brentford will rival Southampton in that regard. I think Wolves will also be there. I could see Southampton. God damn it. I could see Sunderland even being ahead of Wolves as well. I really didn't think they would be going this bad. Wolves, because they have some weird pipeline to Portugal where they just get all these good Portuguese talents. So, this is up for debate. Sunderland, Wolves. But I've got them kind of there in the lower bracket. But let's see, 13, 14, 15, 16. We need 2 more teams here. I'm also going to put Nottingham Forest in this bracket of losers, just because obviously I think that they're a bunch of losers, and I don't think that they're going to be as good as their fans believe them to be. And then this is where it starts getting tricky. Before we lost to Bournemouth, I probably would have flirted with them in this lower mid 13 through 17 tier. But I'm going to be honest. I think with all the shit going on with Crystal Palace, I'm going to put them as 13th. Because, yes, they won, but they've also got European football to contend with. They've lost their best player, their next best player in Mark Gahey. He also said, we are not, or Gahey said that he doesn't even want to be captain anymore because of the way that he's being treated over there. I think that and then the stuff that allegedly Glasner's saying, I think that is going to provide turmoil along with the difficulties of a long schedule. I think Crystal Palace has never played in European competitions. So I'm going to put them there, kind of that top of the lower tier. So we've got 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 with Sunderland. So now we're going to go to the higher mid table. So 8 through 12. I feel like that might be easier to do when we pick who's going to win the league, etc. So I will go up And I will start back at the top. I just want to get these low peons out of the way, and we'll keep it pushing. Now, as far as the champions of the Premier League, based on right now, based on no injuries, no nothing, no January, nothing, I think you got to go with Liverpool. I think Liverpool, for me, they won the league with minimal. Yeah, killer. I know it's an old one. It's an old one, but Sunderland is Southampton. So this is Sunderland here, and this is Leeds and Burnley down here with West Ham. All right, just for your reference. I know you probably just got here and you're like, what the fuck? But I've got Liverpool winning the league. I think they won the league. Arguably, you know, someone said that they walked the league last year, and I tried to refute that. But when you're up by so many points, you have a game on the weekend, and in the midweek, you're in Dubai throwing a fucking party for winning the league. You walked the league, in my opinion. So, with minimal to no investment, I'm going to say Liverpool with all this motherfucking investment. Isak, Verts, Frimpong, who I've loved for years, like Xavi Simons and Kudus. Frimpong is one of those that I've always loved. And, you know, Kirkez was one of the best left backs in the league. I know he hasn't been that great for Liverpool just yet. But it's hard to say that Liverpool ain't going to be the fucking champions of the league. Now, I think where it's going to start getting interesting is Champions League positions. 2, 3, 4. So 3 teams in that 4 position. Now, I'm going to go with a team that I rate their window, I rate their squad, I rate their manager. I think that they have a good chance of being up there. I'm just going to put the 3 teams that I think are up there. All right. I think Arsenal is going to be up there. As much as I hate them, we've got to put them up there. I don't even think that they get second this year, if I'm completely honest. You know who I do think getting second this year? I think it's going to be Chelsea. I think Chelsea have been investing. They've been smartly investing. I think they're going to finish above Arsenal, and actually got Arsenal finishing in 3rd this year, 3rd or 4th, depending what happens with City. Because City, for me, has been a little bit of a buckery, dickery do, which they lost to Brighton, they lost to us. Historically, they start off slow and then they go and win the league. I don't think that they're going to do that and go and win the league. However, it's hard for me to not have them in the top 4. And objectively, I'm going to have them finishing above Arsenal as well anyway, because I think Arteta's a fraud. I think he's a pussy. I think his game tactics versus Liverpool was absolutely a joke. Like, you have a strong squad. Arsenal have a strong squad. And, you know, like, realistically, I have them here in 3rd. Fighting with Chelsea, you know, I think you can interchange these two. I just think that they do have a good squad. Defender-wise, they also got Pierre Hincapié. So, actually, I'm going to put them in 3rd with my bias. I can see them finishing above City this year still. City's just got too much ingoing, outgoing. I hate saying it, but I do think Arsenal are they got some good players. I rate Hincapié. I rate Timber. That Lewis Skelly fraud bitch. He's actually kind of good. You know, luckily, Arteta is such a fraud that he doesn't utilize Ethan Nwaneri. I think Ethan Nwaneri is a hell of a footballer, but instead he goes with the younger white man, Max Dowman. I love to see them continue to step on their own shoelace and fall. So I don't have them finishing second. I have them. All these 3, I feel like it could go any way, but this is the top 4 for me. And I'm being objective here. Like, my heart and my soul, they want to say Tottenham will finish second. I just don't see it at this juncture. But this is where it starts getting really interesting when you get into that Europa League, Europa Conference League spot. Now, again, it does depend on what Tommy prioritizes. Now, based off of past from Tottenham, based off of historical aspects with Tottenham and how we've acted in the past, I can see us saying, fuck the cup. Who cares? That's what Ainge did his first year. That's what Poch did all the years he was here, and every other manager except for Jose. That's what they all did in their first year. So I'm going to expect him to prioritize Premier League position over Carabao, over FA Cup. So I will have us actually higher in the table than I might have alluded to before. However, I don't have us in 5th. I can see either Villa, Newcastle, or us, Tottenham Hotspur, getting 6th. 5th, somewhere around there. I think this competition, I'm going to move all these teams up here, the ones that I think are like going to be fighting for it. So don't get upset with what I'm doing right now. I'm just moving them up because I don't want to keep scrolling down. These are the 4 teams that I have in these spots here, and I'm going to move them accordingly. But these 4 is the bracket that I see Tottenham in. We're competing with Villa, with Brighton, and with and Newcastle, obviously. I do think we have a better squad than Villa at this juncture. I would have loved it if we could have taken fucking Rodgers off of them. So I think it's going to be between us and Newcastle. I'm curious to see how we're going to line up versus them when we do play them. It's, you know, Newcastle away is a tough fixture. St. James's Park is a hard place to go and win. I can see Newcastle. You know, it remains to be seen. What is Voltamade going to do? Is he going to be good enough? They've got Harvey Barnes. They've got Anthony Gordon, who's a fan of Son, so it automatically makes him a GOAT. And they got some good pieces. I can still see us finishing above Newcastle, though. I can see Tottenham finishing in 5th place. I can absolutely see us finishing in 5th place. And I'm actually going to put Brighton here in 7th. Over Villa. I think Unai Emery is going to focus on winning a trophy for Villa, and I think that they're going to take home either a Carabao or an FA Cup, and we will take whichever one that they don't take. That's what I think. And I think Unai Emery is going to slip down to 8th there in the Premier League. I can see him getting 8th. And I think Brighton, man, they've got a good squad. They've got good wingers. What's his name? Hasenhüttl? No, wait, his name. What's his name? Something super German. What's his super German? What is his name? Gloria, help me out here, Ryan. Hasenhüttl or Frankenbudel? Something Strasbugel? What's his name? Uli? No, not Uli Hoeneß. I just love that name, Uli Hoeneß. What is the fucking Brighton manager name? Hasenfrugel? I think he's all right, you know, and they like to get points on us. They like to get points on City, obviously. What is his fucking name? Frankfurter? No. See, this is the problem. Hertzula. Thank you, Ryan. Hertzula. I think Hertzula is a pretty decent manager. Although Brighton, you know, their front office scouting and recruitment team made Graham Potter look really good. They made Basuma look really good. But they also made Caicedo look really good. But he just is that fucking good. João Pedro looked good in their system. I like Jorginho Ruder on their team. I would have loved us to sign him as well in the window, and I'm glad Tottenham didn't, because if they did, they probably wouldn't have bought Xavi Simons. And I would absolutely love Xavi Simons over Jorginho Ruder. From 17th to 5th, man, is delusional. This is why I think we've had the second best window in the entire Premier League. When I look at our business, like, especially if you throw in Thomas Frank, you know, everyone's wetting their panty driplets about it. So, shit, I think we had the second best window behind Liverpool. And I think that plus, you know what? That is a steep jump. Let me add some modesty. Let's put Newcastle ahead of us. How about that? Is that better? You feel better? Am I delusional still? Walter Mate is a baller. He's a big bastard. But I didn't even hear about him until last year. Big up Killer AMC. Spurs complimenting Chelsea. That's why I like this channel. Can be objective when you want to be. I try to be. When I'm on other channels, I feel like I'm way more shameless than I am here. I feel like here I try to be as authentic and honest as possible with a little bit of jokes. And on other channels, I'm just full Tottenham's better than you, bitch. How about that? That's kind of the energy I take to every show that I'm on, if you haven't noticed. I think Newcastle finishes second. Based on what exactly? Hertzula. Oh, yeah, Hertzula. In Bloom says, where did Southampton come from? Didn't they get relegated? Yes, I will say it again. Because in Bloom, I doubt you were here when I said it. This is Sunderland for me. I have Sunderland escaping relegation and swapping places with Pest Ham United. I think they're going down, 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 down. Absolutely think they're going down. Now, this is where I think things are going to start getting a little bit more interesting. Everton with Jack Grealish, I feel like that's where Jack Grealish is supposed to be. So at Everton, I've got them right here finishing. You know, I think them and Crystal Palace can interchange for that ninth. Or not Crystal Palace, my bad. I see United here. I see Bournemouth here and Fulham. So this is how I've got the higher mid-table looking, with Aston Villa finishing in 8th. I've got Everton in 9th, and this is based off of purely just Jack Grealish hype. I think that they've got that new stadium. They've got a new buzz. You know, when you got that new car smell, you drive the car a little bit different. And I think that they're going to be sorely embarrassed with how last year went. They were fighting with relegation. They were fighting with us with relegation, you know. And I think that they are going to be improved. I think Jack Grealish, the type of player he is, he needs to be a big fish in a small pond in regards to their player talent to be what he is. Let him thrive. Let him be the linchpin in that. And he's never going to be that at City. Most players won't be that at City, not even Haaland. And I think that he's going to thrive. I think they will thrive from it. I'm actually going to move Bournemouth, now that I'm talking out loud. I'm going to move Bournemouth ahead of Everton, just purely based off of Areola and the fact that he did get that one up on us. He did do that. He did. I think there may be a little bit. They did lose a lot of their players. I can't even think of a signing that they made. But, you know, they've got quality. They've got a good coach. I think that they'll be all right. Fulham, you know, Fulham and Palace, they may be switching here for 12th and 13th. You know, actually, live on air, I'm going to switch that between 12th and 13th. I think Forest will finish above Brentford. And then Wolves and Sunderland will battle it out there. So that's my Premier League table, y'all. Again, I'll go through it with you. My champions, I have Liverpool winning the league, and in second place, I have Chelsea. I'm going to say, if I can just throw a guess out there, a wild assumption, I'm going to say that Chelsea get second place, 6 to 7 points behind Liverpool. I think that they are that close to challenging. I just think the quality Liverpool have. Arne Slot shown that he can get it done in his first year, so clearly there's something about that manager as well. Arsenal, I think their squad alone will push them to third. If it was Arteta, probably fourth. And then fifth and sixth place, I've got Newcastle and Tottenham Hotspur at sixth. I think sixth is a good, you know, 11 places. We go up 11 places in the table and hopefully get a Carabao Cup. I'll fucking take it all day long. I don't want to finish fifth or sixth and not have a trophy, I'll be honest. Am I spoiled? Maybe. Am I pretentious? Maybe. I just want us to push on. I don't want it to be like, okay, we got that trophy. Let's get another one in 17 years. I want it to be, we got that trophy. Now let's get a Xavi Simons, a Mohamed Kudus, a Kolo Muani, and a João Palhinha. Let's get 4 players that impact our 11, and let's go win another one. I'm not saying to win the Champions League and the Premier League just yet. Keyword yet. But I'm saying, like, just get you the damn Carabao Cup. That is, you could get that. That's the easiest one. Easiest one to win. Who do we play in it? We play fucking Doncaster Rovers first. I think 6 in a Carabao Cup is wetness, is moisture, is beautiful. Guy Thompson, big up Guy. This is big up Jacob in chat. 6 and domestic trophy is solid. I think it's more than solid. I think it's fantastic. I'll be through the moon. I would be through the moon if that happened. Still Call says Golden Boot winner. Your player of the year. Good question. I should have left some space for this. Just at the top of the hour. Make sure you are liking and subscribing to the video and the channel if you haven't already. Road to 7K is live. Hee hee. But my Golden Boot winner, Richarlison. No, I'm just kidding. It's got to be Erling Haaland, right? It's got to be Erling Haaland. I think it's got to be Erling Haaland. Or Isak. I mean, everyone got a 3-game head start. But I think right now, the most in the league is like 3 or 2. So it's not that many goals that he has to overcome. Actually, now that I'm reminding myself of the Liam Delap debacle there at Chelsea, I'm a little bit more weary of my second place for Chelsea because Liam Delap and João Pedro for me were 2 phenomenally great forwards. I could see them both shining very well, but João Pedro might make a run for it. I could see Isak. I could see Haaland. What other strikers, man, that really like? I think it's going to be Haaland that wins the Golden Boot. I think Mo Salah will probably get the most assists. I think Cole Palmer might get the most assists. Player of the year. It might be crazy, and it probably won't happen. But give me Mohamed Kudus for Player of the Year or Most Improved Player of the Year. Some award we got to give to Mohamed Kudus. I think he's going to be pivotal. Why can't I fucking say that word today? I think he's going to be pivotal in. Chelsea don't have good defenders and a shaky goalkeeper. Yeah, I'll get to that one in a second. Let me try and finish this off real quick. The reason why I think Kudus, for me, is going to win some kind of a fucking award for Tottenham is because, number one, if we are able to do, sixth and a domestic cup, and he plays a vital role in that, the impact is undeniable. Xavi Simon, same thing. But it just remains to be seen if that's what's actually going to happen. I think it can. And so I'm going to say Kudus. Best goalkeeper, well, right now it's Big Dick Vic. I can't, no one can really debate that. He's got the most saves. But goalkeeper of the year, you got to lean somewhere like Allison, probably. I'm curious to see what Donnarumma's going to do at City. But fuck it, bro. Let's put Vicario Sicario in there. I did like the goalkeeper there. Brighton has a good goalkeeper, and Leicester had a good goalkeeper. I don't know. Did Leicester sell that goalkeeper? I liked him. I think he's pretty good. Chelsea don't have good defenders and a shaky goalkeeper. They do have a shaky goalkeeper, and they are limited in the defender position. And I would say by recalling Mark Gui, that indicates that they're now short in the striker position. But they've got Tyreek George that's staying there. Look, for me, I rate Maresca as a manager. Now, some people don't like the inverted fullback thing. Some people don't like the way that they press. For me, I think that their system creates opportunities. And that's what I loved about Ange Postecoglou's system. It's a system that creates opportunities. And unfortunately for Chelsea and for Tottenham and for Ange, sometimes it creates opportunities for the other side. And we saw that on full display. We saw what the worst of it can look like. I think Chelsea's manager shows you what the best of it can look like. They're going to concede chances. They're going to give opportunities. And when you're relying so heavily on your midfield, which this is why I have them so high, I think they have the best, if not one of the best, midfields in the league right now. Caicedo, for me, is the best at the position. If I had to pick a team of the season, he's absolutely going in there. As much as I hate that little racist midget, Enzo Fernandez, he's been very good in the last, 12 months, you could say? He's very good. And then Cole Palmer, for me, probably the best 10 in the league as it stands when he's healthy. And I'm not going to use one game where he was not good to say that he's not. I rate Cole Palmer very highly, and I think that he's a danger. And it's just weird how he just looks so clueless, but he's so good. So their midfield for me is what's going to help that defense not look as bad as it truly is. But I do agree with you, recency bias in that regard. But I also think just going forward with João Pedro, with what's his name? Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto don't even have to be perfect either. But, I think that we've got some pieces, and I think that we've got some my boss just texted me, shit, no work today. Yes, no work. I don't have to go to work tonight. It's a beautiful sight. But I do think, Chelsea's got a good squad. I think they got a good manager, and I like the way that they play. I think that they're going to get goals, and they're going to get points, and they're going to get results. I think like Liverpool, Chelsea have shown an ability to at least hang into a game and continue to challenge the result. Like if they're drawing, I think in that 70, 80th minute when teams are supposed to come alive like a Liverpool does, like a Arsenal does not, like a City has, like a Chelsea has, I think that when it gets a nut busting time, that's when you see teams like Chelsea, Liverpool, and City. I think that they get, those extra points when like a Tottenham does not do. 60, 70th minute, we got a shot on target, and we were like, woo. But, yeah, I maybe rating Chelsea a little high here. Maybe. But I've got them second. I don't even think Arsenal get second this year, I'll be honest. Arteta is such a fraud. But look, y'all, I do appreciate those of you who tuned in, watch this live. If you watch us back on playback and you're almost on an hour 45, big up to you. Hopefully you're doing great. You're a beautiful, sexy son of a bitch. But let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe to the video if you haven't already. But let me know what you think of my tier rankings. Obviously, we did earlier the Tottenham squad rankings, and check out that goated. Look at that goated up there. Yes, we have a lot of players who need milk and are average, but we've got 4 players in that goated category. So talk to me nicely or don't talk at all. And there's my Premier League predictions. I got Tottenham finishing in 6th. I could see us finishing 7th, to be honest. I could, but I'm just, you know, I love Tottenham, and I'm going to hope for the best. And I think in best case scenario is we win a Carabao Cup and we get 6th. I think that's very doable. And I didn't even speak on Poo United, but I've got them down here in 11th. You know, maybe 10th. Maybe them and Everton will fight here for 10th. That might be what happens. But I don't see them finishing above Bournemouth, Villa, Brighton, us, Newcastle, or any of the others up there. But I could see them finishing above Everton and Palace and Fulham and Forest and Brentford. You know, Forest, I would love to see Forest get relegated, bro. But anyway, who cares? And then also let me know in the chat. So y'all got 3 assignments. Thoughts on the fucking tier of the table, thoughts on the tier ranking of the players, and then I want to know just a number where you rank this transfer window. And for me, I'm going to give it a 9, a solid 9, not even a light 9, not an easy work 9. I'm talking about a solid 9. And the only reason, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to put it at a 10 because we got rid of Maynard Solomon for 12 months. To me, fuck yeah, that makes a 9 into a 10. I don't have to deal with that fucking genocide lover on my club. I love it. I love it. And if that offends anyone, I don't care. I'm on the side of innocent children. But I put this picture right here because I want to end the video on good vibrations. And I'll tell you what, when it comes to these 3 players, the vibrations are vibrating, baby, like a fucking 12-foot dildo. FA Cup to come home. I'll take FA or Carabao. I just say Carabao because it's easier. It's a little bit lighter of an expectation. But look, y'all, I've really enjoyed the show. I enjoyed this ranking. You know, a little something different. It is international break, so we're trying to stay entertained how best we can. And it just sucks because 2 of these 3 players in this photo that's on the screen right now, we have not actually seen play, so I can't go watch their comps for us. But we can go watch a Mohamed Kudus Tottenham comp. We can go watch what they did at other clubs and see how maybe that'll fit in. And, you know, look, I'm going to see what kind of content I could bring for you during this international break that isn't just international bullshit. But I do have a heavy interest because we have a lot of players that are off to international duty, including U21 international duty for Gray and Tell and Odebert. But then you got Xavi and Mickey and Kudus and all these other players that are getting called up to their camps. Look, I think it's going to be an exciting year for Tottenham. I think it's going to be an exciting year. Slumlord from Hell says he is unsubscribed from me. Jew-hating piece of shit. I didn't say anything about Jewish people. I have Jewish friends. And when I say these things, they don't feel this way. So it's interesting that you would go there. But hey, you know, to each their own. It's weird when you say, I don't like innocent children dying. They say, oh, that's because you hate Jewish people. I know plenty of Jewish people who don't want innocent children dying and women and war crimes and starvation. But look, we'll save that talk. Maybe we'll do that stream tomorrow. Why I'm happy Maynard left. And then everyone can come in here and be like, you're a Jew hating, blah, blah. You know, people say, as soon as I wore a Palestine shirt, they said I'm an anti-Semite. Bro, Palestinians are the original Semites along with all those people in that area. So like, how am I anti-something? Anyway, I'm getting lost in the sauce. But look, couldn't give a shit. Couldn't give a shit. You see, all right, we'll just go ahead and we'll give you a timeout for being a dummy, for being nasty, being a dummy, and for correlating my advocacy for not starving children to death to somehow hating Jewish people. I don't hate Jewish people. I have plenty of Jewish friends that I communicate with on the regular, and they agree with. I've seen plenty of Jewish people at pro-Palestine protests. So you can put that one up your ass and fucking suck on it afterwards and taste the shit that you have coming out of both ends. But anyway, on a positive note, I tried to end on up the lads. Come on, you Spurs. Wait, stay fresh, stay blessed. Up the lads. Come on, you Spurs. And be kind to someone else today and be kind to yourself today. And we'll see you on the next one. Come on, you Spurs. I can't wait to watch Xavi. I can't wait to watch Mohamed Kudus. I'm so excited, goddammit, I'll be honest.
Wanna be on